When Fire Emblem fans debate over who the worst unit in the franchise is, there were a lot of people that come up as the usual suspects. Some people will look at Fire Emblem 6 and bring up the likes of Sophia or Wendy. And yes, they are a steaming pile of garbage, but that's not quite the right answer. Then, people might look to Radiant Dawn and bring up the likes of Meg or Fiona. And that's getting warmer, but that's not quite it either. In Path of Radiance, you'll find the actual worst unit in the entire Fire Emblem franchise. The King of the Crows with one of the best base stat lines in the entire series. You might be wondering how this is. Well, sit down and I'll learn you a thing or two.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
Now, if you were to look at the stats of someone like Sophia, and then look at the stats of Naysala, you might think I'm absolutely insane for saying that Naysala is worse. Because on paper, he's actually incredibly powerful. His base speed is 34 in a game where most enemies don't get past the low 20s, even on higher difficulty, so he's always outspeeding them. He also requires no investment, coming in as powerful as he is, and he has access to flyer utility and Vantage, with Vantage in Path of Radiance being busted because it is always active, meaning that Naysala always attacks first even on enemy phase. With all those combined, it sounds like he's really good. The thing that makes Naysala crumble is the context in which he is recruited. He is a member of the Gateau archetype, which for those of you that don't know, those are the units that show up on the final map and exist just to help you on that map. There's Gateau himself, Athos in FE7 is a very common example. These units have to be useful on the final map, or else there's not really much of a point to them. And Naysala is recruited onto a final map that could not be more against him if it tried. Naysala's main purpose is to be called in to fight the final boss of the game, Ashnard. On the game's hardest difficulty, which is what is used when discussing the quality of units, Naysala can only be called after you defeat Ashnard's first phase. So by the time that happens, the player's likely already cleared out most, if not all, of the map. So all Naysala can do is fight Ashnard. And that is something Naysala is really bad at. While he is really fast and can double Ashnard, his damage is so low that he's not even out-damaging Ashnard's healing skill renewal. He is literally damaging him less than his passive healing. On top of that, Naysala also struggles to take a hit from Ashnard, as the Mad King does a fuckzillion damage, and Naysala, no matter what you do, will not survive 2 attacks from him. So because of this, if you want to use Naysala at all, you have to keep a healer attached to him at the hip. Which, with the physics staff, isn't difficult, but it does kind of speak to the quality of Naysala that he can't do the one job he's meant to do without a lot of help. And if you were looking at his skill set, you might notice that he has a skill called Vortex, which allows him to attack with wind magic. And given that Ashnard's a flying unit, which is weak to wind magic, you might think that's another option, but it's not. It's so weak, it doesn't do any damage to Ashnard, which is crazy that a spell designed to beat a unit like Ashnard doesn't work against Ashnard. What also doesn't help is when you summon Naysala, it is only after you've beaten the first phase, which, depending on how well you've trained up your Ike, might mean he never even gets a chance to show up and contribute, because Ike will have just beat Ashnard before he can even spawn in. If you're running a Wrath Resolve build on Ike especially, you will very well kill Ashnard if you get lucky. So, okay, Naysala sucks ass at what he's meant to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the worst unit in the franchise. Sure, he doesn't do what he does well, but he still does something, which is more than what the likes of Gwendolyn or Sophia can do. And you might have a point with that, but the problem for that is Naysala's cost for recruitment. Wendy might be terrible, but you just get Wendy. You recruit her, and that's all there is to it. Same with Sophia, with Meg, with Amelia. Naysala comes at a cost, because when you can recruit him, you get the option of 3 units. In addition to Naysala, you can also call upon the help of Gifka and Tabarn. And that is Naysala's biggest problem more than anything else. The cost of getting Naysala means you don't get Gifka and Tabarn. And those two are actually capable of contributing. With higher bulk and higher damage, they can do a much better job at fighting Ashnard. Granted, they do still have the problem of, depending on how you've built your Ike, they won't actually get there in time, but when they do get there, they do more damage than Naysala. They can survive more hits than Naysala. They can do Naysala's job better. And let's try to be as kind to Naysala as possible, because on easy and normal mode, you can recruit Naysala at the end of turn 3, rather than waiting for the first phase with Ashnard to be over. So if he comes in on turn 3, he can contribute, right? Well, that runs into the problem of Gifka and Tabarn again, who, because they're stronger, they just do more damage and can handle the threats of the map better. And Naysala's main strength, his blindingly fast base 34 speed, doesn't actually matter. Sure, he's significantly faster than Tabarn and Gifka, but it doesn't matter that he's faster than them. What matters is if he's faster than enemies, and Tabarn and Gifka are still fast enough to double every enemy on the map, except the, 3 Swordsmasters that spawn in. So, yeah, Naysala can double them. Woo. Every other terrible unit in this franchise might not contribute anything, but they're not taking anything away from you either. And often, they might come with goodies. Yeah, recruiting Amelia doesn't get you a good unit, but it gets you a Speed Wings. Recruiting Fiona is terrible, but she comes with the skills Imbue and Savior, and you can take those off of her into someone useful. Naysala gives you nothing, other than taking away from 2 significantly better units. In fact, Gifka is kind of the objective best choice. Because of how transfers work from Path of Radiance to Radiant Dawn, Gifka can immediately give his Radiant Dawn self 2 more base strength just if you pick him in Path of Radiance. Which, Gifka doesn't show up till the very end of Path of Radiance in that game, and if you're really going to use a Lion in the end of the game, just use Kanagus. But still, even that bullshit slight advantage that maybe 1% of all Tellius fans have experienced is more than what Naysala can give you. He comes at a steep cost. He isn't good at the only thing he's meant to do. Naysala really is the worst unit in the franchise. He is the only unit with negative reason to pick him. Not no reason, negative reason. But because his stats don't look as apparently bad as Wendy or Carla or Meg, he gets to fly under the radar. No one knowing how much of a shit mountain this guy really is. So that's what I wanted to do today. Just to spend about 10 minutes of my life and your time shitting on Naysala. He's gotten away with it for too long. I would like to thank everyone for making it to the end of this video. I just don't know why I decided to wake up and take a dump on Naysala. It just seemed like the best thing to do today. Before we end, I would like to thank my patrons for their contributions to helping the channel. Link to my Patreon's in the description, and you can join the likes of Adebayo Thompson, Alex Aroliga, Emu is not beating the Tails allegations, Andrew Crockett, Bean Juice, Benz again, Dr. McBackstab, Hell on Heelys, Jay Hun, Despacito 2, Larmachi, Ly70 Volt, Lindus Mine, Natsumu Terumi, Susuano the Divine Warrior, Kobo, Kaneru, Lambda 11, and Takane Lol in a Trenchcoat, Morgalorgan, Plaid Arrow, played is pronounced like the pattern. Ranger Man Sam, Shen Lu, Very the Artist, Yo Girl Owen, Brentendo 11, Drew Hack, Fire Emblem Lord, Ginger, Goo Goo Gaga, Cornelia Milkers 92, Inverse, Lev Maverick, Maple Knight, and Upscale Furry Trash. Thank you all for your continued support, and I'll see you next time. Take care.